out for many for the total freedom from anything associated with a false identity. Wow! Yes. That's pretty cool, eh? Total freedom to participate in the divine dance as a moment-by-moment state of being, as your brand new normal, as your brand new existence, as your new creation reality, as the fruit of the renewed mind. Yes. So, here's something crazy that happens. John the Baptist, this hairy guy, Jesus' cousin, everyone thought they were both kind of weird. John especially. At least Jesus could had a job. What did your cousin do, Jesus? I don't talk about him. I really haven't seen him for a long time. He wears weird clothes. And he eats funny stuff. And he lives alone. Way out in the desert. I haven't seen him for a while. Anyway, John the Baptist comes out on the scene like he's an eccentric character. But one of the first things that he does when he sees Jesus in John 1:29, he says, "Behold!" I don't often say behold in public like that. Behold! Behold my awesome attire. No, not attire. Attire. Behold, the Lamb of God that takes away the sin of the world. Now, if people thought John was a little bit crazy before he said that, they certainly thought he was a lot of crazy after he said that. That guy doesn't have crazy just a little bit, Jesus. Your mate over there's got crazy on, it's off the Richter scale. They didn't even know what a Richter scale was back then, so that's pretty impressive. Here's why that is a crazy concept. First of all, you got to think about the culture that they lived in. The Hebrew culture that they lived in was a culture of propitiatory sacrifices. So say propitiate. Say propitiation. Say propitiatory. Oh, very well done. You guys sound very sophisticated. Say it again. Propitiation. Propitiate. Propitiatory. Oh, well done. I'm surrounded by genius people. A propitiatory system was, let me give you an example of propitiation, then we'll expand it, we'll unpack it, we'll revelate on it. Zeke, where are you? You're there. Oh, well, this is a letter not from a guy named Zeke, but from a guy named Zach. So you just think about this. This is a little letter. I found a copy of this letter online. And the picture that I saw of it, it was handwritten by a kid, so it's all squiggly, it's all over the place. It's not, nice and pretty. And there's some spelling mistakes. So there's one place where it says pinched, and I think it might have meant to say punched, but it said pinched, so I've just carried on the flow of the little letter. So it starts like this. To the best brother ever! Exclamation mark. I'm very sorry that I pinched you in the nuts. I'm so sad that I feel the pain. I know that this note won't completely make up for it. So here's $1, all for you. I know it doesn't make the pain go away, and I can't put a Band-Aid on it. You wouldn't be able to pee. I hope you're better in the morning, buddy. Love from Zach. Oh, that's cute, isn't it? Well, that's propitiation. Propitiation is when one person causes an issue, and then the person who caused the issue initiates the reconciliation. So, for example, what's in here? Is this your water? Doesn't smell like water. Who does quality control in this school? Okay, so now I've just splashed Jess with some water. So this is perfect because now I've created an issue, which is ideal for this scenario. So I've created an issue with Jess. I've splashed her with water. It was totally inappropriate. Now, in a propitiatory world, later on, if I felt bad about that, I'd be like, oh, no, Jess. And I would come and I would initiate reconciliation with Jess. I'd be like, Jess, I'm so sorry. That was so inappropriate. No one should ever do that, especially not someone who's, speaking from the pulpit about the Bible. They should never do that stuff, ever. Okay, so I'm so sorry about that, deeply. Okay, so that's propitiatory. It's the same with the entire Hebrew way of their whole sacrificial system. The whole law was based on a propitiatory system where they caused issues with God. They were sinning all the time, and so they would initiate the reconciliation through sacrifices. Now, this has been going on since Moses till John the Baptist. This is like thousands of years that their whole concept of sacrifice has revolved around this. Now, we're going to explore this in Hebrews shortly because the book of Hebrews is the best book on this. But for all of their sacrifices, for all this time, they never once cleansed a person's conscience from sin. They never once cleansed a person's conscience. All their sacrifices, all these sacrifices they relentlessly performed for century after century after century after century, they never once took away anyone's sin. Not once, not one time, not one person did one of those propitiatory sacrifices ever take away one sin from one person. They remained perpetually sin conscious throughout the entire time of the law. So now John the Baptist comes along and he says, behold the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world. And first of all, they were like, no way, crazy John. There's no way that guy is not a flippin' lamb. Like, woohoo! Crazy John. He thinks that guy is a lamb. He's had too much time in the desert, and I'm not sure that was all like, he may have been experimenting chemically out there. But he's come back with some crazy ideas. So first of all, they're like, you're ridiculous, John, that guy is not a lamb. Second thing, they're like, yeah, we know he's crazy because now he thinks that something can take away sin, when they know experientially after century after century after century after century of sacrificial system where not one person's sin ever got taken away, that sin couldn't get taken away. They're like, that's not possible. Sin doesn't get taken away. We have to do it over and over and over and over again. And despite all this religious monotony, we are never free from our sin. We live perpetually sin conscious, which means we live perpetually bound by our false identities. We live defined by our life experiences. We live with shame and condemnation and self-hatred and isolation. And this is how it's always been for us, and this is how it will always be. And John the Baptist, crazy John, says that man is a lamb and he can take away sin. And then he takes it to a whole new level because he uses the Greek word cosmos, and he says, behold the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the cosmos. That's the entire universe. One sacrifice that can take away sin for the entire cosmos, that can put sin to death, annihilate it, expiate it, completely eliminate it from the entire cosmos. Crazy John, what were you doing in the desert? Because your head's not screwed on right anymore. So they were like, yeah, we're pretty sure he's got some significant issues, more than we can count. And then the book of Hebrews is amazing because the book of Hebrews then tries to help the Hebrew people join the dots with the fact that John wasn't crazy, and Jesus was the Lamb of God, and he did take away the sin of the cosmos, and he forever put an end to their entire sacrificial system, which was based on propitiation, which didn't work. Let me give you another example of propitiation. This was written on a cake in icing.